You are not doomed to repeat patterns of toxic relationships, and trauma bonds can be broken. And that is exactly what we're talking about how to do today. So if you're excited about that, go ahead and make sure you like this video. If you don't know me, my name is Kristin. I'm a life and relationship coach and a clinical hypnotherapist. So go ahead and make sure you subscribe, turn on those notifications so you can get new videos all about becoming the powerful woman that you are truly meant to be. Let's start with this. How do you know if you're in a trauma bond? Last week, I explained what trauma bonds are and why it's so hard to leave a toxic relationship. You can go ahead and check out that video, but make sure you come back here because it's really, really important that you know some signs that, yeah, for sure say you're in a trauma bonded relationship. So one, if you are in a relationship and the things that are going on, if your friend came to you and told her she was in that same relationship and your reaction would be, you do not deserve that. Run, leave him. This is crazy, leave him. Then you are most likely in a trauma bond. Two, you have tried to leave, but you feel like you physically can't. Maybe you fantasize about leaving and you want to, you desire to, but you just really can't make it happen. Or maybe you have left, so you've packed up your stuff, but you ended up right back because the emptiness and the pain that you felt was just too great to be able to stay away. Three, you have a lot of self-doubt about what is actually going on. You feel irrational. You maybe even say to yourself, I feel like I am going crazy. And you feel like you're truly addicted to this person and you cannot explain it. Four, you are afraid of the other person's reactions. So you're finding yourself having to hide things, to sneak around if you want to do certain things. Five, you are obsessed with this person. You obsessively think about them and you crave to be comforted and to be loved by them at the cost of your own self-love, at the cost of yourself. And lastly, you deny their behaviors to others. You try to hide their behaviors to your friends and your family or other people that might be alarmed by the behavior. You simply deny it or you try to hide it. Now, this isn't by any means an exhaustive list, but if you were shaking your head to any of these things, if you're like, oh yes, I'm there, then you are most likely in a trauma bonded relationship. If that's you, if you've been there, I know I have been there before, just go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know what's resonating with you. Let me know where you're at. So now the question is, okay, how? How do we break this? How do you stop this? Because you know that trauma bonds are really chemical reactions that your brain and your body goes through based on familiarity of early childhood relationships. So if we're going to break that, step one is really awareness. You have to be aware of what a trauma bond is and that you have been experiencing trauma bonds either in the past or right now. So by just listening to this video, being here, seeking this information, having that level of awareness, you're already starting the healing process, the process of being able to break yourself out of these trauma bonded relationships. The next thing is to validate your own reality. In these relationships, there's a whole lot of manipulation, a whole lot of gaslighting. This creates a lot of self-doubt in your own mind between what is really going on. You have to be able to validate that. The best way to do that is through a friend, a therapist, or a coach, somebody who is going to be able to do this with you. This is a do with process because there's so much going on inside of your mind that you really need that extra helping hand to be able to know what is real and to get back into the truth of what is really happening. And that really leads us into the next point, because the next thing is admitting acknowledging that you are being abused. And I know that that's hard. In fact, I know in my own experience, when I was in an abusive relationship, I had always pictured abusive relationships very differently than what mine was. I had thought, you get beaten up every day, and sort of this battered woman that I had in my mind. And I clearly was not that. I remember reading an article or a post or something that said all of these things that were considered abuse. And I could check every single one off that was happening in my relationship and in my life. And still, in that moment, I denied it. I still said, well, that's ridiculous. That's not really abuse. I tried to rationalize. I tried to justify. And now I see that with my clients. A lot of people, when I tell them this is abuse, the instinct is to make justifications. The instinct is to make rationalizations. Oh, he has a very stressful job. He had a hard life. All of these things. But they don't take away what is actually happening. You can have empathy for somebody and not make yourself a martyr. And when you can acknowledge that you are being abused, and you can feel what that feels like in your brain and body to say, wow, yes, I am being abused. This is abuse. You can start to see that you really don't deserve that. Another chip away at this trauma bond. When you can get real with the reality of what is going on, you are chipping away at that trauma bond. And that leads us right into the next point, which is increasing your self-worth. When you are in a trauma-bonded relationship, it really does take a toll on your self-worth, because on some level, you believe that is what you are worthy of. Again, it is from familiarity of childhood experiences. And it doesn't mean the childhood experiences were the same. It just means that your brain and body have a certain baseline, and that this relationship is not so far away from the baseline that you went running. So you have to increase your self-worth. Now, I have a video that I will link to right here, and I'll put it in the links in the description too. That is my favorite exercise that is going to help you increase your self-worth. Because once you do that, you can really understand and feel the worthiness inside of yourself. You don't put up with abuse. You don't put up with these cycles and these things that are happening in your life. Another crucial point into breaking this trauma bond is doing some deep inner child work, some deep inner child healing, where you go back and you look at that child that had those experiences that maybe led to these things in your life. You bring her with you now. You connect to your joy. You connect to forgiveness of yourself. You connect to truly loving every single aspect of yourself. Now, I recorded this inner child healing meditation, so make sure that you check that out as part of your healing process. And lastly, and I think this is so important, the healing has to be done on a subconscious level, because these are all subconscious processing. That cycle of familiarity, what's happening inside of your brain and your body, you are not consciously aware that it's happening. You are not consciously choosing to have oxytocin and cortisol and all of these things that are happening. It's not a conscious choice. So when we're healing, we have to work in the subconscious. I love hypnotherapy for this, because it allows us to safely access your subconscious, change perceptions. We can find out exactly when you picked up the beliefs that you are currently holding. We can find out exactly when that happened, so that we can release it from there and then reprogram your subconscious to experience a new reality. Because you absolutely can make what has been familiar to you unfamiliar, and you do this in your mind first, then it will be in your reality. You can make what is totally unfamiliar to you familiar. And again, you do this first in your brain and the feelings in your body. And the more that you sit with that new reality inside of your brain and body first, the more that you are actually going to see that in your physical reality. And once you do that, you don't have to worry about being stuck in a trauma bond anymore. You don't have to worry about narcissists or people that are abusive or anything like that, because you literally rise above that. You actually go to a different vibrational level, and you don't have to worry about those people anymore, because you have so much self-worth, self-confidence, and you know what it is that you desire. You've already felt that in your body. And then you know when you see that in your reality. This is a lot of the work that I do with my clients, releasing, reconnecting to the truth, and reprogramming your mind so that you can really experience that new reality and get yourself into a healthy place in life. Get yourself comfortable experiencing healthy, happy relationships, because that is truly what you deserve. If you are interested in that, I do have limited space in my one-to-one program. You can apply for that. I'll go ahead and link it below. I also offer one-off sessions where if you want to work just on one thing, we work together for 90 minutes, and we do a lot of that subconscious programming work in those sessions too. I'll link that below. As always, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you liked what you saw, please give me a like, share it with a friend that maybe needs to hear this, subscribe to my channel so you can get more of the good stuff coming, and check out these videos that I was talking about earlier.